Tena Yisteleng in their Baruku name. And Shalom Rastafari. And I'm reading this article here by a brethren by the name of let's see, who wrote this article? D. Thomas D. Lorenzo. And I got this from Idrin on the Facebook by the name of Amha Selassie, bless his soul, Baruchu Brethren. And he does say he has a lot of good works too. He says a good word too in his Imperial Majesty, and he does have some good articles, brethren. And I read some of your articles, and you really do. You say some real things, and they're very deep too. But this article I kind of wanted to go over, and I kind of wanted to clear something up though, about Nelson Rohlihlahlah, Rastafari, Mandela. I wanted to clear something up about Iron Eyes Idrin, and also about Fidel Castro, because we'll get into Fidel Castro a little bit later, but I want to go down with this because what Fidel Castro was, and it just kind of came to I and I. The Holy Spirit said, I and I come deliver it to the eyes. But what a lot of y'all don't understand about, Fidel Castro, the ones who don't like Fidel Castro, is that Fidel Castro was not, when in his mission, was not sent out, it was not set out to be bad, actually. What Fidel Castro had ended up giving into, okay, was it kind of was a different story. He had a different situation, and honestly, there can be somewhat a similarity as far as what happened to Nelson Mandela, but in a completely different way. And Fidel Castro, in no way are we really comparing him to Nelson Mandela, but we're talking about the mission. See, because a lot of y'all don't know. I don't know if y'all know about the revolutionary mission of Zebulon, which was Fidel Castro was set out on in the first place. We'll get into that in a moment. See, because a lot of people don't know that hidden story, that there's more truth behind Fidel Castro and more righteous truth behind Fidel Castro than there is of a lot of so-called people. Okay, I wouldn't actually Fidel Castro. He's not somebody that I would actually put in. Now there's what the Mariel, what the brothers and sisters, the Donites, the Cubans that went through over there. But there's a connection with the Donites and Zebulon, that if Fidel Castro on his mission, had he set it out and he did it, accordingly, or if he would have stuck to the Rastafari plan, that he might not have he probably wouldn't have became the hated. He wouldn't have got the hate that he got for what he was accused of later, of the things that had happened. But let's go down here. Now, there's some personal issues that some folks have with Fidel Castro, which I can't comment on because I don't know. I don't know personally what he did to some, but I'm just talking about the revolution he was set out on. He was never meant to be this so-called like this harsh dictator as many would make him to be. He wasn't supposed to be like that. But the only reason I'm commenting on that is because in this article there's something said. This is a really good article because it goes over a detail of what South Africa was dealing with as far as apartheid, and also it kind of says something about Fidel Castro. It says something about how Nelson Mandela identified, or he kind of liked, he idolized Fidel Castro, and it wasn't that. It was that you probably don't understand the earlier mission of Fidel Castro, as well as many world leaders at that time, as far as putting Rastafari on. It was about the tribes, the 12 tribes of Israel were gathering at that time. And see, white supremacy was very afraid of that. That's another reason why Nelson Mandela did 27 years in prison. But let's go over this because there's a deeper detail to the story about as far as Nelson Mandela liking idolizing Fidel Castro, so called. Really, I wouldn't put it that way. But I'll say there is something that on the set out mission that Fidel Castro was supposed to do that Nelson Mandela probably did admire, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, not just Fidel Castro, but somebody special that I want to mention who was with Fidel Castro, who ended up dying in South Africa. And some of y'all probably may know who he is, and the man by the name of Che Guevara. Now, we'll go over that in a moment because he's the man who was known to get Fidel Castro into Cuba, into power. Actually, he's the one that pretty much led the way. But we'll go into that in a little bit. But let's go over this article first because I want to go to the part where that's mentioned. And I'll start it off. It says Nelson Mandela's battle against socialism, unionism, and interventionism. Workers of the world unite, keep South Africa white. Right? This is a quote right here. Look, you know, you see that? See that? That's what they're doing till this day. They still down with that. Workers of the world. You know, I know how you can see that on this type of camera. I don't want to, you know, make it too blurry, but I'm gonna read it and you know. You know, you take I not making up these words, right? Workers of the world unite, keep South Africa white is apparently a slogan, right? It's a slogan of the early 20th century South African labor unions, right? It says South Africa's apartheid is not the corollary of free market or capitalist forces. Apartheid is the result of anti-capitalistic or socialistic efforts to subvert the operation of market (parentheses capitalistic) forces, right? And this is a quote by Walter E. Williams, South Africa's War Against Capitalism. Okay, during the 20th century, the worldwide socialist movement attempted to criticize capitalism by associating it with Nazi Germany, since the Nazis did not nationalize many industries as the Russian socialist Yurgurta. If you give I 1 second here, have a little bit of an interruption. So Yurgurta. Let's put that down. We'll worry about that later. Alright. Yurgurta. You know. Alright, now during the 20th century, the worldwide socialist movement attempted to criticize capitalism by associating it with Nazi Germany. But I honestly say this, and I want to stop right there. I do associate apartheid with Nazism in a lot of ways. Maybe not to the critique the way this brother breaks it down, and I want to do more investigation into this breakdown that he does. I admire it. I want to check it out because it's more detailed about white supremacy. Okay, the different type of white supremacy organizations and functions. So anyway, this one says during the 20th century.